feel able to turn the tables. I could do this, just keep moving, keep your hands up, stupid. I feel lucid, a new viewing. I can see the end, I can see my future, I can view it. It's right there for the taking. Everything I've ever wanted, dreams are just waiting. I just gotta fight for it, willing to die for it, willing to like sort of.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Philip J. Fry, and you're listening to The Drunken Turkey Show, your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the DT Show. Some sad news today, as I'm sure everybody's aware. Earlier today, Charlie Kirk, a conservative political activist and co-founder of Turning Point USA and a father of two, his life was tragically taken away and in a what appears to be some sort of political assassination. And, there's been two people arrested and two people have been released. So apparently these people that were in custody and interrogated obviously didn't have anything to do with it. And so we're going to talk about that today. Please hit the like button, subscribe button, ring that notification bell. We're going to look at this from our typical point of view. You know, this is a primarily a true crime channel, and we do deal with some conspiracy and things like that on Fridays and things of that nature. But we're going to look at it from that lens of the true crime lens, because this is a crime. Somebody lost their life in a very horrific manner. We are not going to go down the political views and avenues as much as we can, given, we do understand that this was a political activist. And so, that conversation may come up, but we're going to try to stay as far away from that as possible and just kind of look into the facts, look into what occurred, what's still happening, what's going on. So without further ado, let's bring in our guest, Dr. Jaime Vona. Dr. Vona, how are you doing?
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing well. It's a little bit shocking. I, for one, am not very political to a certain extent. I got my views like everybody else does, but I'm not like a hardcore politically swayed person. And so I was familiar with who he was, but I didn't really know who he was. Were you familiar with him, Charlie Kirk?
I was familiar with his name and like a few things that he stood for, but I wasn't, I never did like a deep dive into him. I think regardless of, what side of the aisle somebody falls on, I just think that it's terrible, no matter what, to have political violence. Yeah. It's sad to see, because then it makes people not want to take on those leadership roles. And we need people to be in the leadership roles or we don't have a country.
I agree. And he was a guy, like I said, he had a channel called the Charlie Kirk Show. And what he did was very similar to what I'm more familiar with, which was Louder with Crowder. And he would go out and stand and say, change my mind about something, except with Mr. Kirk, he would go out to universities and debate students and I guess faculty and whoever may want to step up to the totem pole as he's doing here at the podium. Sorry about that. As he's doing here in this image, with a student at a different university. This is what he did. He was very active in his political views, apparently, but more so than anything else. I mean, he had a family.
Oh, that's terrible.
He had, and his family were there present.
The kids were there too.
The kids were there too and saw what
happened. Oh my gosh. That just brings it to a whole different level.
It does.
Wow. That's trauma. I mean, it's trauma regardless, but the fact that they were there.
Yeah. And it was so scary situation. I got notifications from my friends and, hey, look what happened. And at first I was like, I'm not sure who Charlie Kirk is. And then so, I started looking it up and I saw the video of how horrific it was. Which has been circling around, and we're not going to show that. We're not about that type of stuff here on this channel. But they show the impact and immediately how gruesome and how bad it looked. It didn't look good, but news media started reporting that he was sustained and in critical condition, stable in critical condition until President Trump ended up announcing that he had passed. Did you like? How did you hear about it?
My daughter was watching it like on her phone. I guess it must have went on social media right away. So she was like,
Yeah.
"Mom, look!" And like, of course, they showed me, knowing that I would probably pass out, but I didn't. But so she showed me, and I was like, "Wait, what's happening right now?" So it was my 17-year-old too. So that's like another thing too, because now my 17-year-old just watched this too, and this is the generation that I'm talking about that we need to want to stand up for the things that are right. So for her and her friends were all watching it. I'm like, this is like maybe not for her, but for somebody else, that might be enough for them not to go down that road because they're afraid. And I don't blame them. And it's been happening for years. Like if you look at Gabby Giffords and
Mhm.
Kennedy, like I mean, it's been happening, forever, and it's just heartbreaking.
It really is, and we do have a little bit of like some breaking news. It's President Trump just dropped a an announcement on it, and so let's listen in. I have it sped up. It's about 4 minutes. Let's listen to what he has to say on Charlie Kirk, and this just got dropped. So let's all tune in.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Words from Donald Trump about the assassination of Charlie Kirk that happened earlier today at a Utah college. He just released that information. Just released this as we were going live. I know some people are asking about some of the if if the suspect was found or not. And there's been 2 people that have been taken in, and both have been released. Both of them. Let's see. Let me pull it up real quick. Here it is. This is from Kash Patel, the FBI director. It said, subject for the horrific shooting today took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Thank you for the local and state authorities in Utah for your partnership with the FBI. And then just a little while ago, comes in saying the subject in custody has been released after interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues, and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency. And so the suspect is still at large. There was a press conference that was done earlier, and some questions were brought up during that press conference. And it kind of seemed to me like the way I think it was the governor answered the questions where we're going to find you, we're going to do this, kind of led me to believe in that moment that they weren't too confident in the person that they had. Ends up not being the case, but what do you think? Do you think, are you shocked that they haven't been able to identify a suspect yet?
Kind of. I don't know why. I guess because I had to go back to class, so I didn't get to see what was happening a lot afterwards. But I just assumed that he either took his own life or that they found him right away. I don't know why. I didn't think that he got away. So when you told me that he was on the loose, I was like, wait, what? So the fact that he even got away was a little bit shocking. But I guess if he had it planned out, and he had an exit of some sort. Someone said that it might have been like a sniper type thing. And then if that's the case, then he might have been able to get away just because he was further away. I don't know. But I hope that they're doing, I'm sure they're doing everything they can, and they'll get him, I'm sure, sooner than later. Yep. Don't you think? I think they'll get him.
I hope so. I'm a little bit concerned that they don't even have a suspect. For them to be bringing in other people and then clearing them and leaving, to me, that's an indication that they have no idea who the guy is. Do
you know if the 2 people that they did have, if they know each other, or are these 2 totally different? In other words, could it be that they have it down to a group of some people and they just have the wrong person? Or is it 2 totally different suspects, right, meaning that they're all over?
Well, I got 2 people that we're going to be bringing up that they arrested, and we're going to look at who they were. And again, these guys were let go, and we're going to look at why they were arrested.
Okay.
And I know that there was a little bit of a conspiracy to a certain extent of, did the person who was at the podium speaking with Charlie, was that person in cahoots with the shooter? Because the topic at that moment was gun violence on campus. And that's the moment that he gets assassinated, is when he talks about gun violence.
I would assume, just playing devil's advocate too, though, that the person who did this probably was waiting for that question. And let's be honest, that question's always asked. So it could also be that that could have definitely been why, but he could have just been lying in wait for a question like that.
Well, let's bring this up. And I think you're more right than wrong. I actually agree with you.
I feel like this question was going to come up regardless, and the person who did this had to know that.
Well, his life was taken within 10 minutes of him starting, and the shooter was 200 yards away. I think it was more coincidental than anything else that just so happened to be the topic. Chloe comes in with one of our mods. Absolutely no victim blaming or shaming. Let's keep it high level, guys. If you blame the guy, if you don't agree with him politically, that's one thing, but the guy didn't deserve what happened to him. And if you guys want to blame him, I have a zero tolerance against victim blaming. You can ask the Kohbergers when they've come in here and started blaming some of the victim family members. They didn't stay long. And so let's keep it high level. Let's keep it adult like. A man lost his life, a father, a husband, and I don't know who he was, but he didn't seem like a very bad guy or anything like that. So let's keep it high level. Stacy comes in saying, "Thank you for covering this story, Daniel. I appreciate that. Thank you so much." All right, so here's where the shot was taken, and this is where Charlie was, and it's approximately about 200 yards away, and it was at an elevated area. There was people who were, because some of the clips of the videos are from an upper elevated area looking down at Charlie. Don't you feel that that's kind of a huge security risk to have?
I was just going to say this.
People like that.
This almost looks like a similar diagram of when Trump was shot, right? And it wasn't at the same type of issue that they didn't have the further perimeter, a security perimeter. So it's like that kind of same thing. So I totally agree with you. I think this is a security thing, and that knowing that these things happen, that we probably should do a better job. I mean, I know it's a lot of money and stuff like that, but we spend money on a lot of things. So I feel like just for the safety of everyone, because somebody could have walked in front of that too and got hit. Like, so, Well,
that's what happened at the Trump rally. There was a guy whose life was taken that was a firefighter.
That's right.
Let's make this bigger. And all right, that's as big as that'll get. So, all right, let's play this. This is actually footage of the suspected shooter running along the roof line, and he was seen. This is very similar to what happened at the Trump rally, where witnesses saw the shooter beforehand. This is the same thing.
Getting right up.
Yeah, you think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? Sure. He just ran from over, where's my finger? Whoa. From over there, ran in.
You can kind of see him laying down.
You can.
In position, and somebody sees him.
He's right there. Just saying, just getting right up.
Yeah, you think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof.
So I think the conversation they had was, don't you think he would have been in place? Is that they thought that this was just one of the security snipers.
That's what I probably would have thought, to be honest with you.
And then let me get the next one out real quick.
It's such a shame. And now they're even affected too, in the sense that they're probably, like, why didn't we think it was something different? So now, like, you just see like the ripple effect that it has.
Yeah, exactly. And then this is right afterwards. You're going to see from a different angle somebody get up and run off of that roof. Right here.
Oh, wow.
You saw him. He's going to slow it down. You're going to see them run back. You see they're moving towards the left, and they're going to duck behind.
Wow.
It's crazy. And so, I mean, not that far. I mean, the Charlie Kirk was just kind of further down from here, and so clear shot. This guy was a little bit further than the attempted assassination of Trump. That I believe that guy was like 130 yards away. This guy was 200 yards away. Does that tell you something about the possible perpetrator? You think we're looking for somebody experienced for them to have taken a shot like this?
Yeah, from what we know from research, it's not easy to get your target, especially from that far away. So I would think that this is somebody that clearly knows what they're doing with a gun. So I don't think it's like an amateur. Mm-hmm. I don't know. This whole thing is just such a shame. You know what just struck me with what you just showed? The fact that everybody standing around, we're so desensitized. Like, I feel like at one point that would have been like pandemonium. People would have heard a gunshot and everybody would have ran. And I feel like we've become like so desensitized that like nobody even moves anymore. Like, that's what struck me when I just saw that.
I agree. When you say that, it's true. I mean, there's one view, and we're not going to show any of the views, but the folks that were standing next to him, up front when they got shot, you can hear somebody yelling, "Charlie, Charlie, no!" And you can hear like everybody else kind of dip down and and run around, and you see a couple of people get up and just kind of move around real fast. But it was horrific. It
Oh,
was
Rabbit Hole Survivor said the crowd did run. So I
yeah.
do apologize if they did. I was just looking at the video that we were just watching, and it didn't look like people were running there. So if they did, I'd stand corrected.
Now this was the first guy. This was the first guy that they put in custody. It's an older guy, and I was at first kind of like, I'm not sure this guy's going to be he seems older. I'm not saying that he couldn't be a sharpshooter or anything like that. Maybe, have some experience in his day, but I don't see this guy running on roofs.
I was going to say he wasn't what I thought. Like, he wasn't what I was expecting from what I was looking, but who knows, But that wasn't what I was expecting from what I saw.
Now, he had some interesting things. So he was on the ground, and I'm going to play this, and you can hear him say, "I have the right to remain silent." And he's yelling that over and over again, which is a little bit odd.
Yeah, that is weird.
And so people might wonder, why is it that they arrested him? Well, we got a video for you guys. This is as they're pulling him away.
I don't know. He said he shot him, but I don't know, dude.
So this guy took ownership. He said he shot him, but I don't know. Like, I don't think these guys were.
I don't know. He said he shot him, but I don't know, dude.
Oh yeah, that's like, I could see why they arrested him.
Well, yeah, he took ownership of it. He said he shot the guy.
And he's not yelling right there, like, "No, I didn't."
Yeah.
Like, if they were carrying me away and they just said that to another citizen, I'd be screaming, "No, I didn't. You heard me wrong. I didn't say that." You know what I mean? So, and he's not.
No, he's not. And he's yelling, "I have the right to remain silent." I mean, he what if, now this is just my conspiratorial hat coming in. What if he said that and did that so that they allowed the real person to get away? Because essentially it kind of did happen. They arrested this guy. I'm not saying that everybody else laxed, but I can see how they're like, "Oh, we have an arrest. Let's get everybody out of here as quickly as possible." Things of that nature. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be anything, or he could just be. I just think it's strange that he said that he did it and then said he had the right to remain silent. Like, that's just, I don't know why somebody would do that.
Misbehave and rewind a little bit. Don't just jump in here and start speaking. We're talking about the two people that were released. Right now, we're talking about why it is that they were arrested.
Yeah, we're saying that it seems strange that they arrested this guy until you hear him saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So when he said, I was thinking the police were very familiar with this older guy who got arrested. I sent you an article. Okay, I'll check out that article. Thank you there, Jeff. I need to check that out. I'm gonna look that up here in a second. But to me, I was thinking to myself, like, if he gets arrested, he's obstructing. Who would obstruct in this scenario? Even if you don't like the guy, why are you going to go out there and say that you're the one that did it in that moment? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just strange.
And so, could it have been a misdirection so that the person that really did commit it? I'd be going through this guy's background like crazy.
I don't know. Could he be like, I don't know. There's also a possibility, and I'm just, again, I always try to play devil's advocate, that this guy could have dementia of some sort. You know what I mean? So, like, we have to keep that. I don't know, though, because I don't know
That's
what
true.
happened with this person. This is the first I'm hearing of it, so I really don't know. But I'm saying there could be many possibilities with him. But you're right. I would want to get down to the bottom of it, because there has to be a reason. Like, why did you say that?
Yeah, I would too, and something like that could be, let's see real quick. All right, let me see what Jeff sent me. All right. Okay. George Zinn arrested for obstruction after Charlie Kirk shooting is widely known in Utah political gadfly. Zinn, 71, was detained on suspicion of obstruction of justice. He did not match the description of the shooter. Images rapidly circulated online Wednesday. Police escorting an elderly man away from the fatality shooting. A conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, and many Utahns recognized him as occasionally a ubiquitous activist. Police said he was taken into custody on suspicion of obstruction of justice. Law enforcement said he did not match the description of the shooter. The FBI has a person in custody with connection to the shooter, and obviously that person's no longer a suspect. And so apparently he's a political activist for the opposite side of Kirk. I guess maybe perhaps he knew that he wasn't because there's two sides of this coin. Either he was deflecting so somebody can get away, or he was taking advantage of the situation to make a bigger name for himself.
I was going to say, could this be like we see in other things? Because I'm thinking like when like the John Bonet and stuff, how people said they did it, that didn't. So the only other thing I could think of is that somebody would want to put their name out there somehow. And he didn't really have much to fear if he wasn't the person that did it, because they would eventually figure out that he didn't do it and release him.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm not too, I'm thinking more now that he's a big political person and things of that nature. I'm aligning more towards he was probably trying to make a name for himself. Now, this is another guy that got arrested out there, and people were thinking maybe this was somebody that had something to do with it. And another older guy
right outside of Carry On. Rifle on this dude's dash, and they just handcuffed him.
There's the rifle. Now, this officer right here, the female, she starts laughing here in a minute. So it makes me kind of believe, like, I don't think they would be laughing in a situation this serious, but I could be wrong. Now, I don't know if this, in fact, is the second person, but there was a lot of people, media, recording this arrest, and he did have a rifle with a scope. But if these are the suspects, they're not on the trail at all.
Isn't it strange that they were both like older men?
Do you see his gun?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of weird. But to me, that just tells me that law enforcement here they might be a little bit off track.
And maybe they're also being like overcautious too, because if they just let something go and they're like, oh, he was older, he didn't look like it, and then it was
There's
him.
There's the rifle with the scope.
Wow.
And so these guys were arrested. I don't know if these I know the first guy was obviously the very first one that they had in custody. They released him. They released this person as well. If this is the other person. Now, there was another person that was brought up that might potentially be this other person that was taken into custody, and it might be the person who owns this account, Omar at Najara Galvez. And they already have another account. I'll see if I'll pull up the new account that they had. They changed their name and handle, but they said, Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow. I really hope someone evaporates him. Literally. Just let's just say something big will happen tomorrow.
Oh, well.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's also suspicious.
Right. And so I don't know if maybe they identified who this person is, and that's the other person that they brought in. But those are my three persons that I believe that they brought in to talk to at the very least.
Do we know if these three like know each other?
I don't know. That's a good question. I would hope that they would try to bridge those gaps. Now, given the amount of time that they've had them, now this is the FBI, and this is a pretty serious crime, so they're probably working at like light speed compared to most investigations. But I would have assumed that it would have taken a little bit longer to figure out like GPS locations on their phones, getting warrants for those type of things, to make sure they were where they said they were, and those other type of things. Now, obviously, if these individuals, and if these are the individuals that they brought in, did come in and speak with law enforcement, they may have voluntarily handed over their devices. And if that ends up being the case, then we're probably looking at a situation where, it would have obviously sped up that process to eliminate them. But I think it's fairly quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's scary too, because now you're back at square one.
They are. There are. And, this is a public place or a public event. A lot of people were there. I'm not sure if there was like you had to purchase tickets or any of those type of things to be in the event. There are some places where you have to not necessarily purchase tickets to attend, like financially purchase the tickets, but you have to go on there and grab a ticket. It's free, but you still got to get a ticket so they can keep account of who's going in and how many people are going to go in and things of that nature. I know, like, for instance, in football camps that I've gone to, you need to buy a ticket to attend their training camp, even though it's free, but it's just to kind of keep everybody accounted for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to make sure that you don't have too many people coming in and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
And
so
you keep people accounted for. You're right. So you know who's in there.
yeah, and because God forbid something like this happens, you have your suspects there. You know what I mean?
But unfortunately, that might not have even helped though, because he was on the outskirts. That's 2 football fields, isn't it?
200 yards. Yep.
I know my football.
Yeah. Nah, he was 200 yards away. Let's see.
That's terrible.
It is. It is. So this is the new profile for that guy. He changed his profile, whatnot, and apparently, these are people that are reporting this profile, and apparently, this is the person who was associated with it.
Oh, okay.
And so, could this be the third person or the second person that was brought into custody? I don't know.
Well,
No
I was
idea.
going to say the good thing about having the video that the guys took of the person on the roof is that can't they like kind of get an idea of how tall the person is, how much they might weigh?
I
Like
think so.
I feel like you could see like how long the person was, and I'm sure that there's a way to identify like in inches or feet how big that is.
You would think so, but in the Delphi case, they had a video of a guy walking across the bridge, and they couldn't determine how tall he was.
Touche.
And then it was you had the bridge for comparison. It was closer. And so I would say that there's a good possibility that you can determine probably, I think it'd be difficult from the distance. And because you also have an effect off of that camera where the actual height may not be represented there because of the pixelation of the film and how far it is. Each pixelation could be it's not, how can I put it?
Like it could
There's like
be
a blur and it could be taller
Yeah.
than what it really is.
Do you think there's other cameras?
I would hope so.
Me too.
I would hope so. And I think there is. I mean, there's more cameras that have been brought out that people have put on social media from the event looking towards Kirk. I'm sure there's going to be some from the backside, like we saw from inside of that building going the other direction.
Do we know how the person got up on the roof?
I don't.
Because that roof looked pretty high. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know that the old men.
Yeah, I don't think an old man is going to be able to get up there.
I mean, you could be
think you're
wrong.
right.
You never know. But I mean, average. I don't know that that's what we're
And I mean, it looks like, let me pull this up. From this image up here, if he stood right here where they have him at, and it appears to be the case. I mean, you had, but I mean, you'd have
Oh,
to
there's stairs. Someone said there's stairs.
go stairs up to
All the way. Okay.
All right. They could have determined Richard Allen's height in the Delphi video. The ISP didn't want to spend the money to do it. They testified to the fact, wow, that's true. That is true. They could have. I'm sure they're going to go through they're going to exhaust every avenue that they can to try to figure out what happened here.
I hope there's no like copycats or anything. Like I feel like, I don't know. Sometimes I worry that like other people will look, and I don't know, for whatever reason. I guess it depends too what the motivation is behind it. If there's going to be copycats, and then what role does social media play in this. I don't know. Do we know anything about that, Omar? Like anything more about their social media sites yet, or is it still like pretty new?
That the one guy that was
The third person.
yeah. It seems like they are. I don't know if that picture is really associated with them, but the old profile identified as they them, and it appears to be a somebody who identifies as trans. I mean, I don't know, obviously, but that's what it looks like. So I think outside of those two things, it seems like they were very upset and mad at the fact that he was coming to their college, and was literally wanting physical harm to happen. But there's a lot of people that have had that. There's this one guy who has a picture. There's a picture of circulating of this guy on the side of the street there in Seattle, I believe, and he's carrying a sign that said Charlie Kirk was shot. Hell yes, with hearts all over it.
That is so unfortunate.
And so
no matter what your views are, nobody, and this is a true crime place, right? Like we all care about true crime. So how can we stand for victims in one sense and not in the other? Like, I just feel like no matter what your political views are, like there's empathy, like you should have empathy here for what just happened. Like, I don't think it's okay. And I also think from the very beginning, when you first showed me, I did see do you see like parallels with the Trump one? Like, I keep going back to that. I feel like it almost was a copycat of that, or looked to be. And again, I don't know this, you guys, so nobody come for me. I'm asking a question. I'm just,
Right. It looks similar. I mean, there's been a lot of those that have happened. There was I think another assassination of oh gosh, that just happened, I think, in Minnesota. Somebody was assassinated in their home, a political person. You had Trump, and it was more than one attempt on Trump. It was there was another person that was, I think, spotted outside of his golf course with or on his golf course with a rifle, and they arrested him. And Trump ended up being on the golf course. There was a little bit of conspiracy to that. So right after the assassination attempt there, a lot of people were questioning how somebody could have gotten so close, how somebody could have gotten up
that's
there.
What I'm asking. Like, you think we would have learned from what happened before? Like, I feel like there should be, I mean, maybe because he wasn't like the president or something. I don't know. I'm sure there's rules, but I feel like now, like, we really need to think about those things, because obviously, you know what I mean?
I agree. I 100% agree, but
or even a place for people like regular citizens, if they see something somewhere, that they could call to say something, just to check, to be like, is this a security person? I just want to be sure. And then if it is, then no big deal.
Yeah, but I think we've also come into a situation where people are so sensitive to ask questions that they're afraid to offend somebody.
Well, that's what I mean. So if we had like a tip line type, not a tip line, but like a place somebody could call just to find out and be like, look, there's a guy up here. I just want to make sure, that they're supposed to be there. And then at least somebody, if there was security of some sort, could check it in and be like, oh, no, that person's not supposed to be there. Do you know what I mean? And then, I don't know. So not even asking the person about why you're up there, but just calling somewhere to be like, is there supposed to be a person up there?
You would think so. I mean, but even in, like, for instance, in the Trump attempt, there were people notifying law enforcement right there. They're like, hey, there's a guy there, and nothing. There was nothing. I think one officer tried to climb up up a ladder and was confronted with the shooter, and so somehow he confronts the shooter confronts him, and then still has time to turn around, go across, sit down, lay down, and then attempt several shots before he's found and he himself is dispatched. And so it is interesting, because then after that, I think it was at Mar-a-Lago. I could be wrong about the golf course, but somebody was at his golf course with a rifle, hiding, I think, in the bushes or in the trees. And one of the biggest questions was, like, how did the guy even know that he was going to be there at that time? And so, there was a lot of conspiracy stuff that was going on there. And in this scenario here, I mean, obviously, Kirk isn't a presidential candidate, and so he's not going to have the detail and the security that the Trump was having at the time. But it is a huge concern. I mean, if you're a parent whose child attends that college, I mean, I'd be super concerned about the security there for my kids, and I don't know if I'd have my kids there very long.
Okay, well, as a professor that works at multiple colleges and universities, it does scare me a little bit.
Yeah,
Let me be honest with you guys. So I used to wear like fancier shoes to work, and now my husband calls them my sexy shoes because I wear Uggs and they're so ugly. So he's saying it like joking, like, "Oh, look, she got her sexy shoes on." But I literally wear Uggs now because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what if you have to run? Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, that's just a shame that we've even gotten to that place.
that's true. But I mean, a school is a very dangerous place. There was it's becoming a very dangerous place at this point because there was I think there was a shooting in Colorado along the same time that this was happening. Three students, including the shooter, ended up getting injured in the attack. And then I think yesterday, a 13-year-old was arrested with like 23 guns.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's a little getting out of hand, and I'm not sure. There's a simple answer. I think everybody wants a simple answer, a one-word answer, or a one-sentence answer that's going to solve all questions. There's not. I know some folks might look at one extreme and say, "Hey, if we did this, this would work," and then some other folks that believe in the 100% opposite direction of that extreme thought. In 180 degree the other way, and both answers are probably not right.
I was just going to say most of us are somewhere in the middle, believe it or not. So if you look at the research, I don't know if you guys know this, but I did my dissertation on this, so I have extensive research on this. But 10% of the population posts 90% of all political social media. So let me say that again. 10% of the population, that's it, posts 90% of social media about political stuff. So if you think about that, that's like a smaller group than you might think. Most of us are somewhere in the middle, no matter what side we land on. It's really, there's not as many people on the outskirts as you would think. The problem is we're not stopping this stuff. Like something has to happen.
Yeah. Ashley was saying that he wears body armor typically. Heard the bullet ricocheted from the armor and hit him in the. It didn't look like he was wearing armor from the pictures that I was watching or seeing, because there was an image of him like before the shooting, and he's like pointing at somebody talking, and he's wearing a white T-shirt. I think it says freedom on it or something of that nature, and I didn't see any bulkiness or anything like that.
Would it have helped anyway?
No, it looked like he got hit in the neck, from where I saw, and
It's a shame.
if the shooter was from a upward trajectory and the bullet's coming downward, I don't know if the armor would bounce it upward like that. Now, if the shot was coming down and going up, it might do something like that. But from that trajectory, no, I don't believe that would have been the case. I think it would have gone into just the way we saw it, and it was man, it's horrific, and his family was there. The
kids.
Yeah, the kids
and wife, but I mean the poor kids, like they probably don't understand like what's happening. Yeah. Under 8 years old, you don't understand the finality of death because your brain is so underdeveloped. So it's probably a very confusing moment. Like they probably still think their dad's coming home. It's just so unfortunate.
It is, and it really is unfortunate. It is really, really, really depressing. Let's see. I'm getting his family wasn't there by Steelers fan. I hope that's to be the case. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, so let me see. Safe, beautiful campus. Oh yeah. So this is a promotional. Jeff sent me this too. Let's see. That this is their promotion of this campus that just came out apparently.
People are saying that they were there. Either way, it's horrific, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard they were there. On a news article. That said that the parents were there. UVU Career Development Center. Safe, beautiful campus. I mean, I don't know how much how much blame do you give to the school for something like this? I mean, You know,
Not a lot, only because like in this situation, so when we talk about BK, I think there's a
yeah,
lot of like responsibility. But in
right.
this situation, colleges have to make money to keep their doors open. So chances are there's something like, that, or if they don't have the extra money often, you would think that they do, but and even if they do, they don't usually spend it on that. So if somebody comes in, they're going to have to bring their own security and stuff. So I feel like it was like a venue. So can you hold the venue responsible? I don't know. But now for like the Kohberger case, yeah, I think you can hold them responsible in some sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how much you can hold the the college responsible for it, because they I don't know if they plan to like hold. I don't think they're designed to hold events like this, and I don't think they have the security for the events like this with with somebody who's got a high profile to them. And so kind of similar to where like I think where in the Trump situation, where his security staff was shrunken also just before the attempt occurred. And they were dependent on a lot of the local law enforcement for a small community. It's you get what you pay for to a certain extent when it comes to that. You know what I mean? You're not having the huge security. They're not well trained old machine like you would with Secret Service on the top of their game. You're looking at a small town community police department. And
And
in
even
this
if they are well
situation,
trained, there's only so many that you can have, like that you could take away from your community.
right, exactly. There's only so many officers that are there, and you're attracting so many thousands of people that normally aren't there at that one time, at that one place. It becomes a risk to a certain extent. Now, with the Trump situation, his security detail, him being a former president, running for president again, probably shouldn't have been shrunken down. That was probably a bad move. Um, in this scenario here, uh, Kirk doesn't get the luxury of having a security service detail, so it's whatever he pays for, and and the school security, which again, I'm not sure how they work in some of these events. So I think they, to a certain extent, maybe there was some sort of ball dropped. If maybe there should have been some more security checks, those type of things. But
And also, I'm assuming it seems like he goes around a lot. So
yeah,
you have to remember there's probably been hundreds of times that he's gone where nothing has happened. So
very
then
much.
like you start to like drop your guard a little and you're like, let's save a couple dollars. Like it's safe, da da da.
Yeah,
It's a shame.
it is. It is. It's horrible. It's horrible.
It
And
makes me afraid for people like that. I hope people still stand up and, get involved because we need that. So it just makes me fear that people are going to be like, because even me, let me be honest, if my daughters today were like, I want to run for office, I might be like, no, you're not. Like, I know I can't stop them and I would support
right.
them. But I'm just saying, like, in my head, I would be like, no, because I'd be afraid of this stuff, but we can't live afraid either. So in one sense, I'd be afraid. In the other sense, I'd be like, go do it.
Yeah, I mean it's scary. I mean, would you attend I'm checking my email. I don't see anything. Can you resend that? In a sense, would you have if somebody else that was high profile political attended your college that had was right winged as well? Would you feel safe going to their conference at your school?
Daniel, I have to go to work there. Of course I would.
All right,
No,
well, let me phrase that. Would you feel safe going to another college then?
I don't know. I don't know that I'd even put myself in the situation because I have kids and stuff. And that's a
Yeah,
shame, right? Because that's not where we're supposed to be. We're all supposed to gather and, debate things and stuff. So I feel like if anything, I don't want other people to not go either. So, it's like a fine line. But if I have like little kids and stuff now, it's almost like I could talk myself out of it. I could also talk myself into it. I guess it depends on the person too. But I don't know. Would you go? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm to the point where I'm almost ready to homeschool my daughter because I don't feel comfortable with all these other situations that are going down in schools. I don't know if I would feel comfortable going to one of these places if I feel safe, if I feel that my family would be safe in these scenarios. And that is unfortunate.
And even like the drills that they do nowadays. Like my daughter's a senior in high school and they do drills with the police department. So they have like mannequin, like dead bodies. Like, so It's the weirdest thing. Like, she's like, Mom, it literally looks like a crime scene. Like, and then we all have to go out and like walk past it. And I'm like, again, we're like normalizing this.
Mm-hmm.
Where I feel like when I was a kid, I know you're too young for this, but like when I was a kid, we like did drills and hid under our desk in case there was like a bomb or something, as if that was going to save us going under the desk. But like that's the stuff we did. It was like you take 2 seconds, you go under the desk, go to fire drill, you go back. And it's like this whole thing. And like, I don't know, it's a lot. And some kids can't handle it. Like, you know, you have good kids with heads on their shoulder, they can handle it. But there's so many kids that can't handle that.
That's true. That is true. You know, what somebody could handle could be different than others. I'm gonna see if there's any updates. Manhunt underway. Let's see if they have anything found yet. So CNN is saying there's been an outpouring of condemnation from both sides of the aisle. President Donald Trump tonight described his death as a dark day for America. Yeah, I don't think there's anything as far as them finding someone yet. Right here. Here's why authorities may be having a hard time finding Kirk's killer, according to CNN chief analysis. A manhunt is underway still as law enforcement tries to find the person who fired the shot that killed conservative activist Charlie Kirk today. According to CNN chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst John Miller, the shooter's planning, skill, and execution may be complicating the search. All right, so this is going to be tough. This is going to be real tough because there's a lot of people that are probably searching. So, you know, you're going to want to look at searches and see who's searching, his, you know, schedule and things of that nature. But it sounded like a lot of people were aware that he was going to be going there. So a lot of people, it would have been on a lot of people's search history. So this is probably one of the reasons why it's so tough. He goes on to say, he told CNN's Caitlin Collins that snipers have been studied closely by the government, and they typically are people who are methodical and patient and self-reliant. So they're considering this person a sniper. You know, I'm assuming that it sounds like they're thinking that this guy is trained. What do you think about that?
Oh, to me, it looked like they were trained for sure. I mean, but then again, you're also coming from someone that, like, I really don't know better. But to me, to shoot 200 yards and then reach assuming that was the target, right? Then I think you could say, at least in my opinion, I mean, you can't say that they're an amateur, I don't think. Real quick, though, I looked it up too. And what I got was that they did interrogate that second person, but then they figured that he wasn't involved. But it says that, oh, wait, what did I just say? Oh, that they are reviewing security surveillance footage. So there is, and they're collecting tips from the public. So I guess they're collecting like the video and stuff that person had. And
yeah,
hopefully they get this person like quick.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Goes on to say this kind of person who would have planned it to get in silently, try to be invisible, take his shot, accomplish the mission, take the gun with them, and leave little evidence behind, which is why I think we have a very difficult time getting started on this one. So he just mentioned something. So take the rifle with you. I mean, you're assuming that this rifle is going to be fairly large. How does one conceal that, you know, leaving the area?
I don't know how they concealed it getting in the area. Do you know what I mean? So it's like either way.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got it out of the area or got in the area without people. But again, I don't know. That could just be.
Well, I mean, he could have planted it beforehand up on the roof somewhere, hid it. I would have hoped that the security would have done some sort of, you know, search beforehand. But he could have definitely put it up there like yesterday or the day before.
Oh, that's true.
You know, and then had it stashed. Ted Bundy comes in with $4.99. Thank you, Ted.
That just sounds so goofy.
It does. It does. And so, you know, they're assuming that this person, based on the fact that they didn't catch them right away, and it's probably a pretty good assumption that they probably went through a lot of planning to have gotten away with this. They would have probably had to have changed clothing, changed a lot of things, gotten out of there through the mass of people. If they're taking their weapon with them and nobody notices them, there's got to be a reason nobody notices somebody with a large box unless it looks like it's something else.
Yeah,
I
Well,
wonder.
there were people that thought he was that, that did notice him. So even if he didn't have it on him and he did store it up there, he did still look like not suspicious, but people noticed. They were like, "Is there a guy up there?" I think it
Yeah.
was just the fact that they thought that they rationalized it, which all of our brains do. Same thing with like Dylan and stuff, right? Your brain rationalizes it. It doesn't want to be like, "Oh, there's somebody here that just murdered my roommates." It's the same thing here. I don't think people are like, "Oh, that's going to be the next." Shooter. I think that they were probably thinking, oh, look, we finally got security.
Yeah, that's true. Officials said earlier today they believe the shooter fired one shot at the person and it was the targeted incident. And it was a targeted incident. So I think this is also another tell that this could be a professional or somebody that is trained, maybe military background. A reason behind that is it was only one shot. Granted, I know that in with the Trump situation, he missed, and so that may have been the reason why he took multiple shots. But usually, those that are in a high pressure situation they've never been in before, even those that are trained, it's not uncommon to fire multiple rounds. Now, I don't know what type of rifle this was. This could have been a rifle that definitely required, a reload after one shot. It may have been a rifle that didn't. I don't know. I don't know what he used. But I know the situation where this one law enforcement officer pulled up to a scene where this guy walked out. It was a family violence type situation. Guy walks out with a shotgun, starts shooting at the officer. Officer unloaded the clip because he was this first time he'd ever been involved in something like that. Even though he was trained, he wasn't in the military or any of those type of things. But it was just kind of like natural human reaction sometimes when things go like that to do something like that. So to fire just one shot and to get in and out like that, I think that's a pretty big clue.
In my opinion, he probably had a scope or something he was looking at. I mean, this is just, I'm asking you, actually. It's not opinion. I'm really asking, do you think he had like a scope and everything?
I probably would assume he did. Which would make the situation even bigger, right? Like the gun with the scope on it is bigger than with the gun without the scope. And so you would need a bigger, case or a case that held them together. Because if you didn't, then you would have to disassemble it and then put it in the case. So it's an interesting situation. Where
I'm interested, like you said, maybe it was up there beforehand. Like I'm curious to see if we're going to find that to be the case, because that is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking, like, how does somebody get up on the roof with all of that equipment? But it never occurred to me. Obviously, this is why I talked to you about this stuff. I talked to you about the cop stuff. I stick with me with the psychology stuff. But exactly, that would make sense. Maybe he put it there before, or maybe he had it on him and nobody saw him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But hopefully they caught it on video somewhere so that they can see.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that a college campus has security cameras all over the place.
Was that building part of the campus? The one
I believe it was.
That's interesting.
And so, I mean, in your campus, are there security cameras all around?
Oh, absolutely.
So I would assume in this campus, there would probably be some. And you would think that they would I would think that they would probably capture him putting it up there, maybe not necessarily at the time he's doing it, right? But I think they would be able to have the capability of rewinding the clock on some of these cameras and see if that was done. But you would think that they should, with so many cameras in schools and things, that they should be able to capture somebody looking, suspicious, fleeing from a certain area with a large box or container or trash can.
You would think, right? I will say, just in case any of my students are in here, in New Jersey, I feel like they would have had like drones flying above. Like, I feel like they really, because after you said would I feel safe and I thought about it, I would feel safe for sure at the colleges I work at in New Jersey and university. In Pennsylvania, I think I would feel safe. But like, I literally have been pondering this since you said it. And I guess it's scary no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
But I do think that at least have drones or something so that you could at least gauge if someone's up there. So I feel like, one of the excuses might be that it's expensive, but maybe something like that could help. I don't know. and maybe having that tip line type thing where somebody can call just to call it in, even if it's nothing. I think that's one of the things that we see around here a lot, like in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. There's like a lot of commercials and stuff, and like they'll say like, if you see something, say something, but there's like numbers everywhere to call. So maybe something like that is needed here, because that was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
But now it's a shame, because now those guys that have that video have to live with that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
It's terrible.
Dexterity says, say they have over 2,500 security cameras on campus. I mean, see, you should be able to kind of figure some things out with that. I mean, you should be able to watch it and say, all right, you know, when is somebody coming from the ceiling dropping down? You know, is anybody running with a large item in their hand, or a trash can, or something that, you know, that would be that you could fit a rifle in. You know, I mean, that's you would think with that. I mean, if you go back to the guy that shot the insurance dude, I can't remember their names. One dude out there, I think he was in Pennsylvania also. Geo something, you know who I'm talking about? Luigi.
Luigi Mangione.
Yeah. They were able to, because of the cameras and security cameras that they had in New York, they were able to kind of determine the direction that he went. He went into the park, and they were able to determine when he left. You know, those things should somewhat be determinable as far as direction of travel that the guy ran towards, or something.
I hope so. Like, I hope cameras pick it up.
Yeah.
Something. But yeah, now that you mention it, what's going on with Pennsylvania?
I don't know. I mean, there's
Kohberger, all of
Kohberger.
it. I know. What's going on?
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Kohberger probably on Friday, guys. We have some new images of Bryan Kohberger that are pretty crazy that we're going to talk about tonight. But obviously, we thought this would take this was a little bit more important. You know, all these Kohberger stuff that's not even on News Nation isn't getting traction right now because of what's going on here. And so, yeah.
Yep.
How long do you think it'll take before we hear an arrest? You think we'll hear one by the time we wake up in the morning?
I hope so. But the truth is, I don't know. I think if there's like video of the person, they could at least get, you know, more agencies involved. I'm hoping like the FBI's I'm just hoping that all of the agencies are all over this, and that they're going to, like you said, we'll have somebody by the time we wake up. I hope.
At what point would you start getting nervous that they don't find someone?
Tomorrow, if I wake up and there isn't someone.
Really? You think that by the time that,
like, isn't there a thing about like that first 48? I mean, it's not 48 hours yet, but I mean, like, isn't there really, there is something to that. Like, if you don't catch the person right away, it doesn't mean that you're not going to catch them. Like, even with BK, people thought that was going to get cold, and it didn't. So I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, it's true.
I hope that they get the person, because I don't think that there's ever a place for this.
Oh, I agree 100%. There's definitely not a place for this, and I hope they find the guy. And they've already alluded that Utah is a death penalty state, so kind of an insight as to where they're going to go if they find the guy. You know, to me, I think if they don't find him tomorrow, I'm going to start to really get nervous about the possibility.
So you too. I felt bad for saying that after I said it, but you too. So that's how I feel, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I wake up tomorrow and they don't have an arrest, I'm not going to be nervous. But if I go to bed tomorrow without an arrest, that's when I'm starting to feel that, all right, there's something.
I'm hoping that they already have somebody in mind, and that they just have to, like, you know, nail it down. I hope.
See, the problem with that is if they had somebody in mind, why? I mean, yeah,
why not take them in like you did the first people? I get it.
Or why bring in those other people?
Well, maybe at first they didn't know. So, I mean, if that just happens and somebody says, I did it and I have the right to remain silent, like, they would be neglectful if they didn't check that out.
Yeah, true. That's true. Yeah, so, gosh, man, there's still no news, no updates in this. I was hoping there would be something by the time we got off. I'm gonna check the Twitterverse or the Xverse now.
Yeah, there better be something by the time we get back on about Kohberger.
Oh yeah, well, Kohberger, of course, but
well, no, I mean by the time we talk about him, hopefully there's something in this case. Like, hopefully they find the person by then.
I agree.
I feel like they're going to. Like, I do have faith in, like, I do. I don't know, but I'm a very optimistic person. That's the psychology in me. So I'm thinking that they're going to get the person. I hope they do.
I do too. I definitely do.
I was so shocked when you said that the person was not in custody. Like, I was like, what? Because I just didn't see, like, how do you, like, isn't it hard? I don't know, to get away from that. But then at the same time, it's 200 yards away. But it
Well,
seemed like there were people there, though, right? Like the other people caught him on video. So once the gun fired, you would think that somebody would put it together. Although they could have thought that it was security and that something was going on and they had to take, you just don't know.
yeah. Yeah. And here's an image of him walking up to the podium before. So he wasn't wearing any body armor or anything like that.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, even if he was, where he
Yeah, I just meant that the whole thing. Yeah, it's in a whole. It's all unfortunate.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
It really is. It really is. I hope the justice is found, and I hope that that it's swift and quickly. You know, and for those that are celebrating this man's death, karma's an asshole, and I'll leave it at that. I wouldn't ever want to celebrate somebody else's death, because usually, there's a saying: don't throw stones when you live in a glass house.
No, and it's usually people like that you find are like the same people that talk about karma, but they don't. It's like projection. Like you don't really. So they usually are the same people that they don't really see it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, karma," and it's like, but they don't see that for themselves. So, yeah, I would hope that nobody's in our chat here would be down with that.
No, I hope so. I hope so also. But I mean, we
crowd.
But I've seen some despicable things, and in the cases that I've talked about, with the Kohbergers and some of the things that they say about the family members and the surviving victims. And so, I've already seen images of people that are acting crazy. Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. I just got home and logged on. You guys, I've been working since 7:30 this morning, and I only got a 30-minute break. Someone asked if I was getting sick. I think I am, but I also think I'm just like on ADHD overdrive.
Oh, that's possible.
I'm good though. It's whatever.
Well, when do you got something else going on there, Dr. Vona?
When we talk about Kohberger, and I can't wait to talk about it next time, because you guys tune in for that one. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Bryan Kohberger probably on Friday. I think that's going to be the day that we're going to do that one. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about Timothy Dees. It was supposed to be tonight, but we got some things to move around. And so I'll be talking about Timothy Dees tomorrow, and then we'll be back on Bryan Kohberger on Friday. And again, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk, gone too soon. Born 93, no longer with us in 2025. And so, guys, please hit the like button, subscribe. If there's a break in this case tomorrow, I'll be covering it as well. If they arrest him or her or whoever that committed this crime, when there is an arrest, I'll be talking about it. We'll be diving deep into who they are. We looked into the people that were at first arrested and why they were arrested. We had one guy that we knew for a fact that was arrested, and he was arrested because he made the statement that he shot him. Ended up not being the case. We have another person that was arrested in the area for having a rifle and a scope. And so he was detained. Maybe I shouldn't use the word arrest, probably detained. And then there was a online profile that was talking about something big happening to Charlie just yesterday.
Yeah, I think we need to keep our eye on that.
I do too. And there's some other interesting stuff about that profile. So that profile with that picture, they have another profile associated with them. And on that profile, they were saying something weird about Dr. Pepper or something. I don't know. And then somebody goes, that I think this is going to be the next shooter, but they identified it based on their sexual or that trans shooter is what it said. And the person responded saying, "Bingo, finally somebody gets what I'm saying," or something to that nature. And so kind of like alluding that they are going to go and commit some sort of heinous crime. And so I don't know if that's the same person. It's the same it's the same picture, but they were going under the profile name like Michela or Michaela or something like that. And so pretty weird thing there. I don't know if it's related or not, but I'd seen it, and it was interesting. But yeah, those are the three people that we had pulled up as the possible persons that were taken into custody and questioned. We know that there was only two, so one of them wasn't. If it wasn't the person that had the online social media profile, I would highly show it. Okay, all right. Let me show you guys. Let me see if I have it still. You guys want to see what I'm talking about? Let me see. Let's see. Where was it at? Because it was I looked up this right here. Let me just see if I can find it for you guys. What it was, what I had found. Wait, hold on. There's some. I mean, I just don't know if this is real though. That's the only thing, right? You know, some of this is could be fake, and I don't want to put a picture of somebody who's not.
Oh, that's a good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the one thing
Because that's the only thing that people will see of this whole thing is that, if you know what I mean, they'll be like, look at what. So you're right about that. I didn't think about that.
See, hold on. Let's see. Omar is the alleged 17-year-old trans shooter who posted something big was going to happen when the assassination on Charlie Kirk. Omar has already dumped his X handle. How did Omar know? Seems like an MK Ultra program rooftop shooter with $1 million in a brokerage account is exposed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they actually have a picture of this Omar guy. Like I guess his picture before he transitioned. But I don't want to show that if this is not him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is like a tough line, because then if it's not him, I mean, we did show the old guys though, and it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the old. I don't know.
There you
I
go.
would defer to you on this one, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, see, this is the other person. This MK Ultra. I don't know if this is real. But here, this is that picture there, and so there's this profile that has that picture. But look at the handle, MKla Ultra. I don't know if it's real, but it could be.
It could be.
But yeah, that profile.
We're not saying that person is guilty. We're just saying. I mean, it is what it is. There's somebody that they're looking into.
Exactly.
So there's nothing, you know. So I don't think either way that was like a bad thing.
Just say alleged. Well, I mean, yeah,
alleged. Exactly. Thank you, Court.
But the thing is, nobody's alleged it yet. It's just a lot of people online that are saying some things, which are bringing up some great points, because this profile said something pretty interesting about, you know, yesterday. I hope somebody evaporates and I heard something big is going to happen, and then something happens. You know, I think that they'd even made a post where it said, here it is. This is the other post they made. Charlie Kirk got shot, bro. I promise I didn't have anything to do with it, but I called it, and it's so deserved.
So I guess when we were saying about it earlier, my whole thing was, oh my gosh, what if you didn't do it? Like, this is like a lesson for everyone to watch what you say, because how many times do we say things like in our life that we don't mean, like, oh, I'm going to kill that person for saying that. Like, you don't really mean that. But if you then put that out there and then something happens, it's like now people are looking into you.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. And man, I wish I could find those Dr. Pepper ones, because that one's weird. The Dr. Pepper stuff that they were saying. What
was it?
It was something about Dr. Pepper, and then somebody goes, "This is going to be the next trans shooter," and then his response or her response was, bingo or something like that. Somebody finally got it. Now this was like maybe a month ago or so. Now they could have just been trolling, you know what I mean? Because somebody was being, you know, trolling towards them. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. But I do think you have to look into all angles here.
Yeah. And then again, there's probably a good chance, kind of like with the Bryan Kohberger case, right? There was a lot of people who were creating fake Kohberger accounts. So I wouldn't be surprised if people have gotten this image and created fake accounts. And so you got to be careful. That's all I'm saying is we got to be careful.
That is so true.
Because we don't know what is real, what is not real. What we do know is that those posts appear to be real from yesterday. Now, if somebody opens up an account, because some people are like, oh, look at this account with this picture on Instagram. And I'm like, I mean, by now, I'm sure there's a lot of fake accounts with the same picture.
Yeah, I do agree with Tim here. Tim says could be someone who had prior knowledge. I would say definitely a person you need to talk to. So by just saying something the day before, like you have to look into that. You can't not look into that. So even if the person did it or not, I feel like, again, it would be neglectful if they didn't look into that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have no idea. There is nothing on there. It appears. So somebody asked, so was it a transfer? I have no idea. Like, we have no idea who the person was that committed this crime. We just know that this Omar person identified also as, like, I think they, them. I'm old school guy, so I don't know what all that means, to be honest with you. I just kind of, to each is your own. I don't care what other people, you want to call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. It's your own business. You know what I'm saying?
Daniel, you'd be surprised.
No, I know. There's people.
No, I'm just like at the college, like, because people are so like trying to find themselves, and people identify as like a gerbil, like you have no idea. There's just so many things. So I think that you would totally be like, what?
Yeah, I've heard about that. I again, I mean,
I know what it was. Somebody identified, and my husband was reading it. Somebody identified as like a cat or something, and then they wanted the school to put a litter thing or something in the bathroom. I was like, all right, that's just when we.
Right.
It's non-human.
People keep getting. I'm going to change the title real quick. And released. I'm going to change it from arrested to released, because when I created the profile, or when I created the broadcast tonight, guys, there was people in custody, and it wasn't until afterwards that. Oh, okay. All right. Won't let me change it until after the show. All right. I'll change it anyways. So Friday night, we'll be back. We're going to talk about Bryan Kohberger. We're going to talk about these images. There's an injury to his hand that I think a lot of people are kind of pointing out now. And there's been some other articles that have been dropped, one by People Magazine, talking about Bryan Kohberger stalking. We talked about that on here through the documents. And so we'll cover those again a little bit, but we'll be back on Friday. Do you have any final words, Dr. Vona?
Just everybody, like, tell people around you that you love them, and try to, even with people that you don't think that you share common ideas with, still try to have a conversation with that person, because at the end of the day, we're all living under the same roof, if you will, as far as a country. So we have to figure it out.
Yeah. So this is what this is the old thing.
You found it.
Yeah. Non-binary goat of all time. I'm 17. Whatever that means. I honestly don't know.
So binary would be like one thing or the other. So like male or female. So non-binary would be like them, they. So you don't identify with one or the other.
Oh, there you go. And so, it's a little bit above my head when it comes to like the new kids and stuff, what they do. It's a little bit above me. But thank you, everybody. Please like, comment, subscribe. When there's an arrest, we'll be talking about it.
Daniel, can I say one thing before you go off? That story or whatever with the identifying, like I said, my husband said he saw that on social media. So I don't know if that was true. So nobody come for me because I saw something in the comment already.
Got you. And one last thing. So if you go and look at that handle, this guy says, username taken after the original owner changed their handle to prevent it from being taken by and used by scammers. My condolences to friends and family. So this guy goes in there and he takes the name, and he puts out there that he's taking the name so that other people can't create fake accounts. kind of like Papa Rogers. Imagine if Papa Rogers deleted his account and then somebody was able to take that handle that's unique to him and then come back and start saying all this wild stuff. That's kind of what this guy's saying. Like, so before anybody took this name and started saying wild things that would make it appear that it was the original person,
That's
he's putting
smart.
that information out there. Yeah. So whoever this guy Max is that did that,
Yeah, good looking out.
good. Yeah, exactly. All righty, guys. That's going to do it for us tonight. You guys have a great night. We'll see y'all later.
See you Friday. Well, they'll see you tomorrow. They'll see me Friday.
I'll be back tomorrow talking about Timothy Dees. You guys don't want to miss that case. And then
No.
Friday, we'll talk about Bryan Kohberger. See you later, guys.
Thank you, everyone.